Hello, I'm Cindy Brannon, author of Keeping Her Keys and Entering Hecate's Garden. This is a special episode of the podcast where I'm going to be talking about Hekate and some of her closest companions and what their visions and appearances in your life mean. And then I'm going to be leading you through a guided meditation at Hecate's well, so that you can bask in the medicine, magic, and mystery of these goddesses. Hekate is a primordial all-mother goddess. We know from the historical records that her roots probably lay in the Near East, perhaps in Turkey or ancient Babylonia, and that as she spread with the name of Hekate throughout these regions, she was a goddess that was associated with nature, with civilization, with healing, of course. And through this thread, there is always this weaving of magic and witchcraft and darkness through whatever roles different cultures, different places assign to Hekate. And it is important for us to note in our modern mind that to the ancients who were experiencing Hekate, they felt her much the same way we do today, which is to say, as a goddess who beckons us into our own darkness so that we can become whole. She appears in our visions and our dreams. We find her symbols and other synchronicities in unexpected ways in our waking life. Oftentimes, these synchronicities and visions and dreams of Hekate feature other goddesses and entities. I'm going to be talking a little bit about 5 of the goddesses that Hekate most frequently is connected with, both in history and mythology, and also in the personal reports of the hundreds of seekers just like you that I've talked to over the years. Hekate, of course, is associated with witchcraft, and her daughters, in the myths, they are sometimes called her daughters, but they are certainly her spiritual daughters, include the eternal witches of Circe and Medea. Circe very much represents the witchcraft of the natural world, particularly pharmakeia, which is the holistic herbalism of the ancients, where the green world and their many blessings were used for magic, medicine, and to help explore the mysteries of the universe. Medea, you may be familiar with the popular version of her mythology, but what Medea really represents, if we kind of unpack the way she's been packaged and really demonized through a very specific play that Euripides wrote, if we kind of expand our gaze to look at her other mythologies, and if I look at the themes that emerge from my students and others' recollections and knowledge at a personal level of Medea, we see that Medea is very much a queen of the poison path. And this means that she is not evil or bad, but that she understands that the blessing is often truly in the bane. Now, this is a bit of a confusing thing to say, I realize this, and what it really means, kind of in the shortest version of it, is that it is through the things that harm us that we find true healing. And of course, we see this in psychology with our shadow work. If we think of our shadow as just baneful and we want to avoid it, well, then we get trapped into that toxic positivity spiral. So, it's not that we avoid the shadow. It's not that we avoid the poison. It's that we learn from it. It is our healer. So we have one trio. Hekate is often featured in a trio of goddesses, or herself as having 3 different heads. So one trio we would call the witchcraft trio, the eternal triple goddesses of witchcraft, which would be Hekate, Circe, and Medea. Hekate is often also included in a different triplicity with Persephone and Demeter. And just like Medea has been kind of vilified in popular culture because of this play that was written so long ago, we also see a very restricted portrayal of Persephone as a maiden who was abducted and forced into the underworld by that old scoundrel Hades. And if we again broaden our view, and we can see that from the mythology and personal experiences, Persephone is so much more than just the Kore, the maiden who was, languishing about when Hades scooped her up against her will. She becomes the queen of the underworld, the queen of her own personal hell, and she is very much associated with spiritual work. Demeter, for some unknown reason to me today, is often forgotten in the story of Persephone. And Demeter is Persephone's mother. And when Persephone was abducted, Demeter was heartbroken. She was crushed. And she went on this epic journey, very much the heroine's journey, that is to rediscover her daughter. And when we look at the symbolic meaning of Demeter's quest for her daughter, we see our own journey to find our own authenticity, to find our own darkness, and to embrace our own shadow. So that is the second triplicity of Hekate, Persephone, and Demeter. And then Hekate has a very interesting final triplicity that I want to talk about. And this is the triplicity of Hekate, Artemis, and Selene. And I want to just talk a little bit about Hekate and Artemis. Some of you may be more familiar with her Roman incarnation known as Diana. Hekate and Artemis, or Diana, are often so intertwined in the historical records that there really is no separation. It's almost as though to the ancients who wrote and experienced them, they were one and the same, 2 aspects of the same, or even like besties who you couldn't tell one from the other. So there is a lot in the history where Artemis and Hekate are what they call conflated or merged together. And we see this throughout history where, Diana becomes associated with witchcraft and so on. And, we see this historical trail of all these beautiful breadcrumbs that lead us across history deeper and deeper until we eventually get back to the All-Mother Goddess and see that, Hekate is really a representation of that, and that Artemis, certainly in various cults of hers in the ancient world, was experienced this way as well. Of course, today we may think of Artemis or Diana as being kind of youthful, associated with hunting and the wild self, and that's very much the archetype of Artemis that I often explore as a side of Hekate that is often not really in the forefront for a lot of our writing and thinking about her. And the final aspect of this triplicity is Selene, who to the ancient Greeks was Mene, or Luna, we might say today, the moon herself. So in this way, Hekate, in historical records, would have been the primal source of the moon, and Selene, the moon herself. So those are the three triplicities that I wanted to talk a little bit about. How to experience any of these goddesses, it's really a unique, beautiful encounter that is very personal for you. I recommend for this meditation that you sit quietly, perhaps with a candle, perhaps you get a bowl of water, because this meditation takes place at Hecate's well. So get a bowl of water if you like, and have that with you. Light your candle and just make yourself really, really comfortable. Beyond the meditation, I recommend the same kind of practice, sitting quietly in the darkness with a candle and just allowing those goddesses to take center stage in your mind. Allow them to occupy and expand your imagination, because that is where we truly awaken to them within us. So get comfortable, and when you're ready, we'll begin the meditation together. So let's begin this meditation by making sure that we're comfortable. Uncrossing any energy centers, your ankles, maybe your legs are crossed, maybe you've got a leg curled underneath of you, arms are crossed. Let's just uncross everything. Get those feet on the floor if you're sitting, or stretch out into them if you're laying down. Closing the eyes now. Becoming aware of your breath, just noticing it. Breathing a little deeper now. Exhaling. Letting the shoulders relax. Breathing in a bit deeper this time. And let it out, releasing the tension as you go. Let's breathe in again, deeper now, filling the belly, all the way in, awakening the root. Stopping the breath here for a moment. And let it all out. Now begin the process of tethering yourself to the earth beneath. And we do this by just stretching out our roots, seeing the roots emerge from our feet, stretching deep into the earth, way down, perhaps even all the way to Hecate's cave. Just breathing now, releasing the tension down through those roots. And as you breathe in, you draw up all the nourishment from the earth. Feel yourself connected here, safe, tethered, grounded. Now turn the attention to the heart center. Feeling the energy of the heart center begin to expand and pulsate gently but strongly. Allowing that energy to expand, just filling your body with this pure love energy of the heart center now. Opening to the meditation to come, to the experience that awaits. Pulling now up into the mind, deep in the mind, opening that third eye as you breathe up into it. Breathing in and out, releasing any tension, any distractive thoughts. They just float naturally down through those roots, deep into the earth, where they will eventually be born anew. Feeling yourself fully aware and conscious of a much deeper you, of the soul, awareness rising. Now let's look into our mind in this state of awakening and see a door. Opening the door now, walking through the door, meeting me here on the other side in the world of spirits, a deeper reality. Now let's begin our journey. We're here in Hecate's garden. You see the beautiful plants all around you. It is night and the moon shines above. There is a path that leads deeper into the garden, a beautiful path, taking notice of the path and the plants. Walking down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Deeper into the garden now. You're surrounded by lush vegetation and such a beautiful presence of power and love, acceptance. Let's keep stepping down the path. 6, 7, 8, 9. Looking up now, you see ahead a well. You sense the presence of Hekate and others. Taking the final steps now, standing at the well, noticing how the well appears to you. Feeling me here with you. And the sacredness of this well. By this well, You see a vessel, maybe a bowl or a cup, and you know immediately that this is yours. Pick it up now. Examine it. Noticing the details. Now dip your vessel into the well, filling it with this beautiful, cool water. Now bathe yourself with this water. You may pour it over your head and allow it to shower you. Or you may gently splash some on yourself. And as you do so, you feel the release, the unleashing, the connection of your own sacredness, your own gifts, a deeper awakening. Now that you've been cleansed and freed from all that gunk you've been dragging around, fill up your vessel again in the well. Find a spot to sit down by the well, resting comfortably, and look into your vessel. See your own reflection. Softening the gaze, your reflection starts to shimmer, dispersing, changing, morphing. A new face appears. And with this face comes two other faces, the triple goddess. Greet her. Hail Hekate. Hail Circe. Hail Medea. Hekate speaks of her power. Welcoming you to her well, applauding you for taking this journey. Her face slowly fades, and Circe and Medea remain. They speak to you, offering you the gifts of healing, of magic, intuition, persistence, of fire and earth and insight into the mysteries. Slowly their faces start to dissipate, Hekate comes again. This time she brings with her Persephone and Demeter. Gold and Demeter, dark Persephone. Hekate speaks of the balance that is life, the brightness of Demeter and her quest through the upper world, the darkness of Persephone and her reign over the underworld. Slowly, once more, Hecate's face fades, and Persephone and Demeter, mother and daughter, outer self and inner self, remain. And their images now start to transform, with Hekate appearing again, bringing with her Artemis, the huntress, the wild one, and Selene, the moon. Selene speaks of her mysteries, of her journey. Selene speaks of the cycles that are necessary for life, and Artemis tells you of her ways of bending those cycles so that they represent a balance. And Hecate's image fades, and Artemis and Selene remain. Slowly, their images start to fade and replaced now. You see them all, the many faces of the goddess shimmering in that vessel from their beautiful well. And as you contemplate their images and experience their presence, the images once more fade, merging with your own reflection. You are of these goddesses, of Hekate, primal mother, and all of her companions, her faces. All their powers of witchcraft, of balance, of wildness and structure, their medicine, it is all there. Now pick up your vessel and drink from it. Drink deeply, deeply, nourishing parts of yourself that have been thirsty for so long. Drinking the magic and medicine and mystery of Hekate, Circe, Medea, Persephone, Demeter, Artemis, and Selene. This water fills you in a way that makes you feel lighter, wholer, more aware, balanced, healed. And perhaps you splash yourself with the water a little bit, or pour it over your head, whatever feels right. Just allowing their messages, their visions, the sensations you're feeling, just allowing them all to happen as you're drinking from this vessel, nourishing body, mind, and soul. Splashing yourself with the water. Now it's time to depart from Hecate's well for now. You now know the way here, and you can come back whenever you need to drink from it. Setting down your vessel, saying your thanks and gratitude. Walking back up the path that leads to the door, back into your physical self. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, one last look around, and 2, and the final step. Stepping through the door, back into your mind, closing the door. Allowing this heightened awareness to start to rest. Turning to your heart center, allowing it to rest. The mind and the heart feeling very nourished and healed. And finally, pulling up the roots and allowing that deep root inside of you to rest. Back into a place of rest. Becoming aware of your breath once more. Wiggling your toes, fingers, moving your shoulders, wiggling in your sitting bones a bit, bringing yourself fully back into your body now. And when you are ready, open your eyes and let's continue our talk about these goddesses and the well and what you might be experiencing after this meditation. The well is deeply evocative of the womb of the goddess. The well springs up from deep within Hecate's cave, from her cauldron that is the source. Through this symbolism, we understand that deep within the earth there is a womb, and that womb is a river that runs through all of creation. And when we come to Hecate's well, we drink of this vital source, and it is nourishing in so many ways. You may experience in the coming days dreams, visions, and if you're so inclined, you may want to do a tarot reading and consult the cards for deeper wisdom from the goddesses. You can use your own personal power card, your significator, picking a card that best reflects you, and then contemplating each of the goddesses, asking them to reveal a card for you, so that in the end you end up with yourself in the center and then the 9 goddesses around you. You can start with Hekate and end with Selene, and you can see this as a cycle, a wheel around yourself. This is a really beautiful tarot ritual. Take your time to interpret it, no rushing. Make notes and journal if you do the tarot reading, and even if you don't, make sure you record the visions that you had during our journey. Thank you so much for trusting me to lead you on this journey. You can learn more about my work at keepingherkeys.com.